Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Big Daddy Danny doing dad things while dripping fits that dangle at deathly distances from the dance floor. Uncle Gary tried to do the Dougie while drunk dialing his donut dealer episode of the Days Grimm. My name is Brian Michael Day.
My name is Thomas Grimm.
Who's joining us today?
Joining us this week in the Days Grimm studio is our personal favorite, Dan Dennison. How are you?
Finger guns. Pew, 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 pew.
There you go.
We need to get one of those DJ.
You got enough room in here. You can have somebody
We
in
just
here, right?
hire a DJ just to be like.
I think we can make it happen. If you really
What's
want
up?
it, you can make it happen.
How are you
thanks
doing?
for having me. I
Doing
appreciate
okay?
you, yeah, hanging in there, doing okay.
Hell yeah, it's been a hot minute since we've seen you.
It's been a while. Huh?
What's it been? Has it been a year? Because I know we did yours. Was it before or after Over the Edge last time?
It was after Over the Edge last year.
Yeah, so
believe.
almost exactly.
I think it has been right about a year.
Tighten up over there, dude. He's over here dropping shit. Jesus Christ. I got to get a better producer. This is horseshit.
Yeah.
100%. God, I got this blind kid with Asperger's fucking hanging in tough.
Yeah.
He's just doing his best.
Yeah, multitasking isn't my thing.
Yeah. Loud noises and lights freak me the fuck out.
9 months.
Yeah, here we go. It was only 9 months ago?
Yeah, look how serious I was.
I guess
Oh
we
my
were
goodness.
we had to be super booked then because we met you at Over the Edge.
Yeah.
We met you at Over the Edge 2023. Shout out. And we're going to talk a lot about 2024 Over the Edge today. But, damn, so 9 months ago. So that means we waited like roughly 3 months after Over the Edge to have you on. That's wild. We must have been crazy booked.
Well, and we're all repping our Team Grant shirts.
Shout out. There it is, baby. What do you know about that?
I'm
G-Rant.
so glad you chose to get shirts.
Yeah, dude. Because they did the same purple shirts this year they did last year, didn't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah, the volunteers.
Yeah. That was like I hope next year 2024 shout out to Over the Edge because it's fucking sick if you don't know about it. And again, we're going to talk a lot about it today. But for the volunteers, I hope they change the shirts for 2024.
Yeah. But I thought, like, I reached out to you and was like, hey, Dan, do you have any team shirts, or like an aesthetic that your team's going for? We'd like to wear them. And then you were like, no. And then like 2 days later, you hit me up and you're like, all right, I got a whole shirt concept.
Yeah, well, it was helpful because I really didn't have any ideas. I didn't know what to do. Last year, of course, I rep the red, white, and blue for Grant.
Oh, hell yeah.
And,
you had the IU pants on, dude. You were looking like
so we
Captain
were,
America.
and I was looked like one of the Star Spangled Danglers, which is another team we have.
Yeah.
But I said, you know what? That's a great idea. Maybe I'll just get a shirt, a jersey made. And shout out to the folks at Oswald Marketing for giving me a hand with that and helping me
Oswald
out.
Marketing, where are they about?
They're a big marketing company here in town.
They're
They
here
do a
in
lot of
town?
good work.
Nice, dude. Shout out to
And
Oswald.
the shirts are
Oswald, yeah.
a crazy cool quality. Like one, they're like jerseys. They're I mean, like a baseball team meets like basketball.
No,
like
I mean, this feels like a baseball jersey.
Yeah,
This is legit.
it's very, very baseballish.
Yeah, it's
and
very nice.
breathable.
Yeah.
And like the backs, which we'll take a photo afterwards of our backs or whatever.
Damn,
but
we
like,
should have done that. Can we splice it in the video?
Yeah, we
Let's do
probably
that.
can.
Okay, so you're looking at it on screen right now. We'll do that before we leave today. Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, and the folks at Oswald are big supporters of Granted. And
That's
they
awesome.
went over the edge as the ballerinas.
They
were the ballerina
that was
team.
the ballerina team?
Yeah, that was them.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Nice.
They do a
Yeah.
wonderful job.
I remember what was one of the girls was terrified and her tutu was like flopping in the air and she had her tights on and stuff and she just didn't want to go down. She was at the edge for a really long time.
Yeah, that would not be the first time that happened.
But
Yeah.
so I shot everything. So we shot their promo video, which no one will really see until next year. But Tom and I shot like 2 hours of it. Tom was there for like the whole day. But yeah, I shot mostly from the ground this time, so I didn't get to see like the top side, which I was kind of bummed about. But did you see any cool stuff up top?
I mean, up top's just cool in general. I mean, you ride an elevator up, which I like. I like that it's not like an outside. You got to climb this giant thing. You know what I mean? Or like,
Yeah.
like you just.
Hey man, you see that scaffolding on the side? That's how we get up there.
But yeah, you ride an elevator up and you get out, and like it's kind of funny to me. So like I used to do like industrial sandblasting and painting, but also like recoating roofs.
Yeah.
And so like all these people up there in sunglasses, they're like, it's bright, and I'm like, oh, my eyes are kind of just used to this.
Yeah, mine are just like permanently constricted.
But yeah, it's pretty neat to see all the rope, the pre check down, like how to do it and stuff like that. It's just a neat experience all around, which we'll dive into more throughout the episode. You want to knock out this DOT dub real fast?
DOT dub, dude. Okay, so you've been on the show. You've seen a couple episodes. It doesn't. This part stings a little. The death of the week.
Oh, it's okay. You're good. You're good.
We're gonna laugh.
I understand.
I promise you, it's fucking good. It is really,
totally fine.
It is
totally
really, really
You're
good.
good.
So I almost called you Drew. Tom, if you would, could you be so kind?
Yeah.
The death of the week.
This week's death of the week brought to you by Dan Dennison for round 2. Kind enough to spend some time with us today. All right, Dan, here we go.
This week, NBC News.
Yeah, this week's death of the week. Our source is NBCnews.com. This article was written October 3rd, 2004 at roughly 12:41 a.m. CDT. And their source was the Associated Press. Here we go. 2 die when swamp tour boat capsizes. A man and a woman from California died after an airboat carrying 16 tourists overturned in a Louisiana swamp, authorities said. Here we go. Whew, this is going to be a rough one, guys. A man and a woman from California died after an airboat carrying 16 tourists overturned in a Louisiana swamp, authorities said on Sunday. Again, this is 2004, folks. 3 other passengers remained hospitalized. Shout out to those 3, you know. Hope they're doing better. Age 31 of Newport Beach, California, died just before midnight Saturday, about 7 hours after Louisiana swamp tourist boat overturned in 3 feet of water. We're going to come back to that depth of water here shortly. An autopsy is planned for Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Colonel John Fortunato said Sunday. Died after her injuries Sunday afternoon. Her husband had flown in and was at her bedside, said Diane Angelico, spokeswoman for Charity Hospital. Hometown in California was not released. I'm glad that they were just like, we don't know where it's from. Just heads up. But 11 other people were injured when the boat, a flat-bottomed aluminum craft powered by a big fan at the rear, or the stern, if you will, flipped in a swamp around Lake Salvador, about 20 miles south of New Orleans. Tourists flock to the area to see wildlife, including alligators, which often are lured to the boats by dangling chicken meat from long poles. The captain, Curtis Silver Lafitte, and their stupid French names, dude. I'm so fucking tired of Louisiana.
Welcome to New Orleans.
Yeah, nah.
Lafitte.
It's like, dude, you're just disgusting. Take a shower, brother. Okay, so Lafitte was among 8 people treated and released at emergency rooms. The Coast Guard was investigating the accident. Lieutenant Commander Greg Dippenet, or Dippenet, if he is from Louisiana, of the Coast Guard's Marine Safety Office, wouldn't comment on Sunday on whether the captain had been making quick maneuvers to thrill tourists from nearby Kenner and from California. Quote, we still haven't totally confirmed what was taking place, end quote. He said, this is the Lieutenant Commander, Dippenet. Moreover, he goes on to say, we have quite a few more passengers to interview before we can comment, end quote. Tom, where do you want, how far are we going here? Am I going?
That's probably good.
Nah, that's probably good. Shout out to Dippenet or Dippenet. I don't know how you say his name. Being extremely professional and also interviewing people that have just gone through a horrific accident. How about, hey, Dippenet, I just almost died. Leave me the fuck alone. You know what I mean? Why just leave me alone.
I got some concerns.
I got some questions.
Right?
What are your, you have concerns.
Yeah,
what are your concerns?
2 people died, right?
Yeah, out of 16.
Out of 16. In 3 feet of water.
Pardon me. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
There were 14 other people.
Yes.
In 3 feet of water.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't help these two people?
Basically
14
a
other
kiddie
people?
pool. Just a really muddy, dirty,
Couldn't
nasty,
at least
disgusting.
flip them over on their backs as you're leaving the swamp?
How, you what?
If they're face down unconscious,
Yeah. That's
you
probably
can't
what
just
happened.
flip them over?
Well, okay, have you seen a swamp in Louisiana?
Yeah, I've been on an airboat.
Well, first off, they're disgusting. So it's very fitting for the place that they reside. But like swamps are like the murkiest, some of the swamps in Louisiana, have you seen these swamps, these southern rural swamps?
Not much.
There are some that, and you can Google me to fact check me, but like there are some swamps that you would look at and not know that you're looking at a body of water. Like it's that dirty. It looks like land. It looks like you could walk on it. It's so gross. So like you go down in 2 foot of water. I mean, you might as well be buried because you're like, what are they going to, it's bad. Look up. Anyways, this one's a little rougher. Not a lot of humor in this one, but what I will say is I think fan boats are fucking ridiculous and they should stop using them. That's where I'm at on this. I know. Have you seen these fan boats?
Oh yeah. And I'm sure the swamp floors isn't very sturdy or,
It's just
or
silt.
solid.
Yeah,
you're
it's
just
a
going to
silt.
sink straight down in it if you're trying to stand up too.
You know how they have like red clay in Georgia? It's the same consistency. See, look at this. Look at this picture. Look, the green one up. That one. It looks like you're looking at like a turf, like grass. But that is all a body of water. You're going to lose somebody in that. And that's probably a foot deep. That's probably more of a marsh than a swamp. They're oddly synonymous, but not entirely. But yeah, I could see how you would lose somebody in one of those, especially given the traumatic occurrence that just happened. You know what I mean? You just got your head beat off the side of a boat, probably. You're like, shit, I better get out of here. There's fucking gators.
Can't like Pirates of the Caribbean it with the boat over your head.
Dude, but I stand my ground on
You know they have alligator farms?
Yeah. There's a song called Alligator Farm.
Did not know that.
Yeah, I forget who sings it, but it's good. Really white trashy. It really speaks to me. But yeah, I really think they should stop using fan boats. I'm just not a fan of the fan boats. They're
You just can't use a prop motor in 3 feet of water.
no, and that's why they use them.
Right.
And these shallow bodies of water are so prominent down there. So I don't know, man. I'm kind of bummed we didn't find out where it was from. You know,
somewhere in California, apparently.
maybe they found out that was from China and they just didn't want to have like bad connections with China. You know what I mean? They didn't want to like put China on blast.
Virus.
Yeah. And then, 10 years later, here comes COVID.
I didn't have a good reputation in the community. Everyone's like, woo! It's like, something happened.
Did you say something? You call me? What's
Yeah.
Need something?
Yeah.
No, man, that's this week's Death of the Week. Shout out to Tom for picking this one was oddly kind of sad. Little comedy in that, but, we do our best here. So just know that is something that happened in 2004.
Yeah, well, them and the chickens all ended up in a fine Cajun gumbo.
That's funny. That's funny. It's funny you bring that back up. They bait the gators in with pieces of chicken.
Oh, yeah. I've seen it. What was it? Swamp people or something like that.
Dude.
Yeah, where they put on these giant hooks, these, I don't know, half a chickens or whatever, and that's what they use.
You're just asking to die.
Right.
It's a wonder more of them don't get mauled by gators.
Yeah. Or like the kids would just like, not David Goggins, but one of the other bigger guys. It might be Cameron Haynes, but they were talking about like how they grew up in Louisiana and they would like just wrestle gators as kids for fun.
Oh, this guy I don't have the book up here, Marcus Luttrell and his twin brother.
Maybe that's something about, yeah.
Marcus
Survivor.
Luttrell and his brother, Michael Luttrell. I think it's Marcus and Michael. 2 M's. But Marcus is the famous one from Lone Survivor.
Mm-hmm.
Him and his brother, when they were not even teenagers, they're like 10 years old, they would go diving in Texas into these lakes and purposefully find gators to wrestle. And that was like their Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Just having fun.
So, Dan, it's been
Christ.
9 months since
Shout out to the gators, dude.
9 months since you came on. Since then, you actually, last episode, we talked about Granted and Grant passing and stuff like that. Since then, you've actually got put on the board of Granted.
Yes, yeah.
You weren't on the board last time we spoke?
I don't believe so. I think I had done the Over the Edge event, but I wasn't part of the organization.
And that was your first year?
Yeah,
doing the Over the Edge?
yeah. The first year they did it, we were aware of it as we were a granted family, but Grant was in hospice at the time, actually. We had gone back and forth before that, trying to find a way maybe he could do it because he wanted to go over the edge if he could. Because I know he was joking about, being the only one-legged person to go over the side in a wheelchair. So,
Hold on,
that's all Grant right there.
Can I just tell you how fucking dumb I am? Like, in my head, I just imagine, like, rigging up a dude in a wheelchair. I think we even joked about this the day of the event. We were like, we need to get somebody in a wheelchair to go over the edge. And could you just imagine? And they're just, like, slowly, like, trying to use the grillet. Is it called a grillet?
I have no idea what it's called. They just tell me what to do.
But, like, the belaying mechanism. Like, could you imagine them, like, scooting their wheels and moving this fucking...
They actually do that. Talking to some of the folks that actually work for Over the Edge.
People in wheelchairs?
They've had someone in a wheelchair. And he actually said one of his most memorable experiences with this person who was really just... up for doing it. And
I was joking.
It was actually,
this has happened?
This has actually happened. And the ropes somehow sit out. They use something that kind of puts them out. And he said he actually had to push his wheelchair off the side of a building. Yeah, and the guy was all for it.
He's like, dude, I'm dying anyway, dude. Let's send it.
And I don't think he was terminal or anything.
Okay. Well, damn, I take that back.
Yeah, that's fine.
But shout out to that guy, dude. That's a bold son of a bitch.
Yeah, for sure. That's
a bold.
Yeah.
That's a bold daddy.
You see, if you actually have to be pushed off and kind of swing out and back in, to think about that's a scary thought. And let alone, we have a difficult time just kind of sitting back in a harness and
letting your
way
weight
down.
Yeah,
but doing that, I couldn't imagine.
He's like, man, I hope these wheels hold up.
Yeah, that's a tough individual.
Hope the seatbelt works.
Yeah.
Hope my mechanic checks my fucking suspension.
For Grant at the time, when they were doing the event and trying to find if he could do it, because I asked him if he wanted to, and he was all for it. But he had a tumor in his hip where
the harness would have been.
Yeah, where it made his leg stop working after a while. So that was kind of his joke about doing that. And he's like, I just push with one leg against there and make my way down. And, so that was just who he was.
So he never got to.
No, he didn't get to. So the first year, they had that. Grant was in hospice at the time, and of course, it took me some time, after he passed, just to have the wherewithal and the ability to go forward and
just
join
function.
Yeah, and join Granted on the board.
This is the 2-week anniversary of when he passed.
2 year.
2 year. Wow. 2 week. Wow.
Yeah.
2 year.
Jeez. Louise, I hope it wasn't, dude. You're doing really good for 2 weeks. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, but it's been 2 years since he passed.
Yeah.
Last year,
On
you got
Thursday.
to wear his hoodie. You waved it a little bit. This year, I believe you went down as well with the hoodie. But
I had the
didn't
hoodie
wave it.
zip tied. Can't talk on the harness
because a hoodie can fall and totally kill somebody.
So I made sure to take that down with me too this year.
Yeah, I don't think a hoodie could kill somebody. You were joking?
Yeah.
I thought you were being serious. But they are weird about, like, when I did it last year, 2023's Over the Edge, and they, like, because I had to go through the course to go up top to shoot down, and they were like, your camera's got to be D-ringed to your harness if you're hanging over, and then, like, where's your phone at? And I was like, it's in my pocket. And he was like, if you pull it out, we're going to tackle you. And I was like, all right, roger that. They're just very, like, conscious of, like...
you have to...
Absolutely.
There are safety rules that you have to obey by. Like when I did industrial sandblasting and painting, if you're up more than 2 stories, it has to be attached to you.
Yeah, it's like
some sort of...
And the Over the Edge is like 115 feet or something.
Well, they do it all over the country.
all over. They could be many, many stories higher than
I don't know
this one, though, is 9
This
or
one's
10
9 stories. Yeah, and just a filler so folks know what we're talking about. Granted is an organization that we grant wishes to kids with life-threatening and terminal illnesses. We also provide Beyond the Wish programming to families and kids, which is above and beyond or beyond their wish. So we're with the families in many ways and different types of support. And then we have House of Hope coming, which we'll talk about as well. So we have really taken this organization and I believe made it a standard or a model for wish organizations, local wish organizations across the country. We serve kids and families within a 100-mile radius of Evansville, Indiana.
Yeah.
So, if anybody knows anyone, that can use our services, send them our way. We're more than happy to help them out and do what we can for them. Obviously, these families go through a great deal of difficulty, and it's not something you can explain to someone.
Well, you were even talking at the Over the Edge event about you didn't realize, through Granted, and especially you being able to come on the board, you're able to provide families with a little bit more insight of certain things that kids can qualify for, or that can help the families.
Because you've been through it.
Right.
But he was talking about how technically his son could have pulled from disability and helped with that financial burden, but you guys didn't know that at the time.
Yeah, we didn't find out until he was already terminal. His prognosis was terminal at the time. So, and that's one of the things that I think that I can bring to the table for families going forward. We have the House of Hope, which is more than just a house. Basically, it's a campus.
Let's pull it up here on screen a little bit.
Yeah, we'll do that. So, a few years ago, before I was even part of Granted, they had a vision of making a place that was for Granted, for the kids, for the families, and it could be really inclusive to the type of families that we work with. And from an idea, now we did our groundbreaking the day before Over the Edge this year, where we will have I believe it's 4,500 square foot building, an outdoor pavilion. We have a prayer garden, an inclusive
playground.
Yeah, an inclusive playground. And we're also going to be partnering with other organizations around the community that support children with disabilities or special needs.
That was going to be my next question.
This
how many
memory walkway is so cool.
How many? So the organizations that are obviously you guys have met your goal. So we're talking about breaking ground soon. But how many organizations have helped fund this, and then are they all Evansville? Businesses and licenses essentially.
Yeah,
all Evansville folks,
from individual donors to major donors. So we have corporate sponsors. We have Roy and Amanda Jorgensen are the naming rights sponsors for the House of Hope for Granted. They've done such an amazing job and have given so much to us. As I said previously, the answer is always yes when you need something from them. So definitely shout out to them for actually making this happen. They really spearheaded this when they said, hey, we're in, and then other organizations just kind of fell in and started being a part of it and wanted to be a part of it. So from Deaconess, Toyota, St. Mary's, Ascension. I'm an old guy, right?
No.
So
it's still St.
So
Mary's,
all these organizations and that have been a part of it. So we have corporate sponsors. We have individual donors. We have also all the contractors around the community who are donating materials or donating labor. So we have almost everything. There are a few things out there we still need that maybe we can get on your site or you can, I can't recall the exact things we need. We put out the other day. There's lots been going on. But we're pretty close to having everything we need from a standpoint of the builders, contractors, and the like. So this will be a facility that's design is based on Give Kids the World, which is a place down in the Orlando Kissimmee area where the kids go. It's kind of their housing area for going to visit Disney and doing their trips there. And it's just a magical area where the kids and their families have an amazing time. And they sometimes want to spend more time there than other folks. So when you see this facility, which will be going up in Evansville, right on Oak Hill Road.
I was going to say, is it still on the north side?
Yeah, so Oak Hill Road, just north of Morgan, on the other side of the Pigeon Creek Bridge.
Okay.
John Elpers was kind enough to donate some land there that we are using now for House of Hope. They've got all the fill material in or whatever they call it. I'm the contractor side, but they've got all that ready to go, and we did our groundbreaking, and
so
the framing the building should start really soon.
So I misspoke earlier. We've already broken ground.
Oh yes,
they broke ground the day before the Over the Edge event.
Oh, see, I was not aware.
That was official groundbreaking.
Exciting.
Yeah.
I'm pumped. And I like that it really is geared towards like you look at this and it really does, it's geared towards like the kids, you know what I mean? So like what are some of the things that will like take place here, I guess, you know what I mean? Like what's the functionality like?
And I think that's the biggest question.
I'm really dumb, so I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. And,
okay.
and for just giving a name and here's what we have, and people aren't going to know that, and they say, hey, what's the difference between this versus this? So what our facility will do is, one, we will have a place to house the organization. Of course, the things that we'll be doing for families, we have our celebration area. We're going to have education that takes place when we talked about things that we could do for the families. Local experts in the community, whether it be from medical information or whatever we need to bring them. We'll have an education center there. We have, game or play rooms for the kids. We have a teen room, music room, the pavilion outside to have events and the like. So all this will be programming. All our programming will be there. We have a wish celebration area. So all of this we've incorporated within the House of Hope. So when you think of it, you just say House of Hope, you just think it's a house somewhere, that we're putting up or something. So this is really, I call it's a facility. It is something that we can now have a place for these families that is theirs.
Will you be able to house a family or two?
No, they won't stay there. That would be something if we have to work with other organizations like the Ron McDonald House or another organization. Yes. Yeah. But we are more services oriented and activities and information. It wouldn't be housing, but we also work with our families in any way we can. We assist families with food cards if they need them, gas for appointments, sometimes hotel stays. We even have emergency economic hardship grants that we give folks. They can qualify every couple of years where we can, if they have a bill, their car breaks down or something where they're just in a severe economic situation, we can help them out. So we can take that and help them get the car back going or get the heat paid, whatever we need to do.
It's funny you mentioned the Ronald McDonald House, or I can't remember what it's called. Ronald McDonald?
Yeah, Ronald McDonald House.
Isn't that who the Shriners work with? Because they actually will like load up buses of like kids that need to go to Indy or Bloomington or whatever, and then their families too. So like, I mean, and I'm not trying to like sell another organization or whatever, but it just
that's fine.
It goes to show like there's just so many groups out here that are like hand over fist, just donating so much to like help. And it's not even sometimes just about the kid, like or the person in like going through the trauma, but it's like assisting all the family members and like. There's just so much that goes into it. I like that you mentioned the education center. I think that would be something hugely beneficial. Like Tom was mentioning earlier, like some of these, ins and outs of insurance companies and the state and federal funds and stuff like that. Like if my wife got sick tomorrow, terminally, heaven forbid, Jesus Christ, I hope that never happens. But like, you're going through so much. Like, how would I know what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, how would I know what to do?
Yeah, you're trying to get by day to day, and you're
just trying to survive.
You are there for your family, your child, to do everything you can to fight for them and their health and their well being. Yeah, and really, those things you set aside as much as you can, but some things have to be done regardless. The last thing you want to think about or do is like, oh my goodness, here's this bill. What am I going to do with this insurance? How does this work when your kid's getting chemotherapy or radiation, or
and you just saying, hey, there's,
you have to do this. And speaking of the Ronald McDonald House, very familiar with it, the Indianapolis Ronald McDonald House. We stayed there for months and months. So total, I mean, there were times where we were there, I think a 6-week stretch, and we came home on the weekends. So they're a wonderful organization where families have a place to stay. They have food available for the families. They do great work, so it's wonderful. And you have a lot of other companies and organizations that
it's nice that Granted can like work hand in hand almost with some of those. Like, hey, you need transportation, maybe reach out to this place. And that's like one thing too, is like one, you guys grant a kid a wish similar to the Make-A-Wish, but you guys have no ties to. But then, like, what I think Granted goes above and beyond with is the beyond the wish, like helping the families with what they need, helping, across
when
the
the
board.
dust settles and you're in shambles, like they're still there. They're not like, hey, we took care of this wish.
Yeah.
All right, you're on your way.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
It's like they're always there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and another cool thing is like you being involved, like we spoke on last time, and like what you always, mention every time I hear you talk to somebody about it is like you're helping push Grant's legacy
Right.
by being a part of this and like helping basically his story, and like your experience is helping impact hundreds, if not thousands, of families by the time you're done with the organization.
And I think, of course, that was the driving force for me to do what I do now with the organization. And obviously, the cornerstone of what the organization has done in the past and continues to do is the wish. Granting these kids a wish. What is it that you wouldn't be able to normally do that we can do for you? That what's your greatest wish that we could do within, of course, reason?
Right.
But doing that makes
come into that mic.
Oh no, but
okay.
doing that, really changes. When you change your state of mind, it also is beneficial to healing for these folks.
Oh yeah,
and it makes a difference. It really does. And I think when we talk about my involvement in the organization, yes, it was after we were a granted family. We were what was known as an inclusion family, where we didn't have a wish, but we were involved. Everything else we need, be there for us, and going forward after Grant passed, of course, I didn't have the ability or the strength to do these kind of things or be involved in other organizations or try to help others. I was trying to make it myself, of course.
Yeah.
But now, as a parent, when you have a child that has passed, it's not about me. It never was, but as a parent, it never is. Your life changes as soon as you have a child. But to even greater degree, that your work now becomes your children's legacy. So my son that has passed, he didn't get the opportunity, to impact the world in a way that he could have over time. So it kind of falls upon me to do that. And also to be there for my daughter, who's gone through all this as well, as as a sibling. So you have a responsibility. At least I felt I had a responsibility, knowing what these folks are dealing with, especially the parents and the ones that have lost a child. It is not something you can explain to anyone, and I think House of Hope becomes something that is theirs. It is somewhere that they're understood. There's not a long explanation necessary. Everywhere I go or anybody else goes, people, one, don't know what to say or how to act. Everyone here understands, at least as much as they can. So it's somewhere where they feel included. They feel they can be
a part of the community.
Natural selves and be normal. It's not somewhere where they always feel like the outsider and people are, are uncomfortable around them. This is their place, and there's nowhere else that is theirs. So this is a big, big thing for these families. And keep in mind too, you're a wish family for good. It's not if my son passed, when my son passed, it wasn't like, okay, that's it. You're not part of the organization anymore. Yeah. So, and not to, I don't mean to speak ill of any other organization.
No, I know.
And I know you don't
I'm
either.
Only joking.
I know you don't either. I get you.
All right, see you, bud.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
get
have a
what
good
you're
one. It's not like that.
But these are massive voids.
Yeah.
For thank goodness, very few people, number of people, but a void that you really can't fill. You do the best you can to fill it, and to give folks
hope.
some degree of hope, and just fill that need that no one can meet.
And I feel like the odd man out in this room. I know there's this weird thing, and I only mention this because I don't have children.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear all my friends, because I'm 34, all my friends have kids. You know what I mean? Except for my brother. He's older than me and he doesn't have a kid. So we pretty tied to each other. But like we look at all of our friends that have had kids, and they all always say the same thing. Oh, you would just never know. Oh, it's the greatest thing. It'll move heaven and earth. You'll not feel a love like that. Blah 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 blah. And to me, and I say blah 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 because like I don't, I can't like register that amount of like infatuation with a single item or being. Because I've never been through it, but then I can only imagine having that. Like
something changes too. So like we all know I can't stand blood. I pass out at the site.
Yeah, we even talked about it before.
He'll drop on a dime. Yeah, it's wild.
But then like Braden like cut himself with glass and was like bleeding all over the place, and I was able to get him to the emergency room and everything like that without passing out. So like it also changes something in like your brain structure.
Chemically,
it does.
Yeah, to like.
It's like animalistic.
It's another part of you, and
parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system where you're just like, get through it.
You know what I mean? There is something. It transcends every part of who you were before or what you could even fathom. So once you become a parent, everything changes in your life because now you're not. Before you lived your life for you and for your happiness or joy or whatever it may have been.
Yeah.
Now you have the responsibility
of human
being that your life then revolves around that child because that is now your responsibility from when you have that child from every minute almost of every day.
Oh yeah.
When they're infants and as they grow as toddlers and kids and teens, there's so many different layers and levels of what it is. And I think becoming a parent it's really that. It's hard to explain. It's kind of the culmination of growing as a human being and a person to an area where you couldn't do it on your own. Of course, you become a parent and you become something different.
Right. You learn patience. You learn keeping your cool. You learn so much stuff. You
learn a lot and you wish you knew more. But of course, every parent goes through this. But you also now have taken in your life, and it's a back burner to your kid's life, and in most cases, hopefully. And then when you have a child that is sick, and especially when you are in a powerless position, there's nothing more difficult.
That was going to be the point I was going to make. Kind of what you were saying about the House of Hope, a place for parents that have gone through that, and it's a place where need no explanation. You're in the right place. This is the right place. So, like, that was going to be my point is, I can't even fathom being a parent, A. B, now take all of those people that do understand what it's like to be a parent. How many of those people, so the fraction is getting smaller, but then how many of those people know what it's like to just have that stripped away? Like, almost immediately within the course of 2 years, 3 years. And it's just so fast. And it's like you're losing your grip. And it's like when you go around other parents, like how do you talk about that? What are they supposed to say to you? It's like House of Hope.
It's like the same thing when somebody thanks you for your military service.
Yeah. It's like, what the fuck do you know, dude? Fuck off. It gets aggressive really quick. Yeah. And I'm sure if like a parent comes to you and they're like, oh, whatever words they have for you, when it comes to Grant, that's exactly how I feel about people thanking me for my service. So there we go. Now you're in it's kind of like that. It's like no one ever knows what to say or how to act or like stuff like that.
No, they don't because you learn a lot, unfortunately, when you deal with, as a bereaved parent, you can look at the world in a very different way. Sometimes in a way is much more negative than you looked at it before, but there are also positives that you find. It's the only people that could really truly understand, of course, are the people that have lost a child, and it's the single most terrible thing, anything that can happen to another person in the world. There's no way for me to explain it. But every parent that hears it and thinks about it, give them a few seconds and they can't think about it no more. When they say, I can't imagine, no, they can't. They really can't imagine. But I think also a lot of that means I don't want to.
Right.
And I don't blame them. Nobody wants to think about that. Because that reality is too much.
I feel like So last time we talked about how Grant got into stoicism
Right.
and was like big into it and everything. Do you think that low key changed you to be more stoic? Because I feel like now, like, I mean, we've known each other for over a year now, but like, I feel like you talk very stoically. You like want to represent a good message. You want to be a better person. You want to affect other people. Yeah. I feel like, do you read his stoicism books or like any of his old quotes or anything like that?
We're getting into a lot of Plato.
No. I mean, you guys just drop out Meditations, Marcus Aurelius, right? That's all you need. But you have a lot of them. It's hard to pronounce that I can remember.
Hear good things about Aurelia, though.
Epictetus, or it's like
Aristotle.
But I think for me, it's partly that, and it's partly knowing that there are things that are much more important in this world than we assign importance, than what we currently assign importance to. You think about the things that you hear on a daily basis that people are upset about, or are having difficulty with, or these other things that are day-to-day difficulties. And then from a perspective such as mine, well, that stuff's nothing. I mean, it's like, futile. It's like, don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all relative based upon your experience, just like anyone. If you've suffered severe trauma, then somebody complaining because they got to work a couple hours of overtime, they don't like who they're working with. And it's like, well, okay, deal with it, right? Grow up a little bit.
Yeah.
But people still have things that bother them and that they have difficulty with. But sometimes you have to put that within the relativity of everything else. So when I look at the world now, as a parent of a child that has passed, the reality is, and one of the greatest quotes I found, and I don't even know who's assigned to or who said it, but you don't fear death, you fear living, because the difficulty of your life going forward, and then everything else becomes difficult. Everything is based on a certain degree of guilt, right?
No, 100%.
However, back to the point of being more stoic, or just understanding there are things that you can change, there are things you cannot.
It's almost like the Serenity quote.
Yeah.
I know
it's
you
absolutely
may or may
correct.
not be a Christian or whatever, but I was kind of raised that way, and we all know that he's reverted to Islam. But I think they still talk about serenity. But it's like, give me the wisdom, or give me the strength to bear the things I cannot change. Give me the wisdom.
The difference.
I'm slaughtering this quote.
No, but we know what you're talking about.
My point was like Grant was into stoicism, so do you pick up those books to like reconnect with him, to like reminisce on those moments, or is there anything that like?
Or do you think he changed?
No, I don't necessarily use literature for that. I think for me, it's the experiences that we had with him. Folks didn't watch the first episode. Of course, here's a kid that still, through everything, he had a very exceptionally rare and aggressive cancer.
And a great sense of humor.
And a wonderful sense of humor. The guy was able to joke about it.
Aggressive sense of humor as well. Aggressive cancer and aggressive humor.
Yes.
I think is a wildly spot on.
Yeah, and he gave us that where we could say, look, here's a kid who knows his life's coming to an end.
Yeah.
At 16 years old. And still worried more about other people. He's still worried, what do I do or say that's going to affect Dad or Paige, my sister, or my grandmother? Or, okay, I'm not going to say or do anything that's going to cause them harm. But I'm also going to drop some crazy humor on you that's just going to take you aback. And you're like, did he really say that? I don't know to laugh or cry here.
Right.
Yeah.
But for me, it's those experiences, like when he was first diagnosed and the pediatric oncologist explained the type of cancer he had and how aggressive it was and how hard it is to treat. He walked out of the room, and the first thing he did was look to me and ask me if I was okay. So what do I have to complain about? What is it in this world that, that I need to push against and fight against. I'm here now to represent him and to represent my daughter. Whatever happens to me, I just need to be sure that his story can be told and people can be affected in a positive way going forward because of him. Because the moment he passed, first you feel like, okay, as a parent, I shouldn't be here anymore. Why am I here? It's not fair.
I don't have a purpose.
I should not.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to.
Or
for
you
those
wonder
that are,
why me and not...
Why him, not
yeah,
me?
why
Yeah.
him? And you have to, for those that have suffered traumatic loss or traumatic suffering, almost, I think the only way forward for most of us is to find a purpose that's greater than ourselves.
And not fall into a habit of like binge drinking or just staying in your room or not going outside.
And some of those will be there. Some of that's the way you have to cope for some folks to get through, the beginning part and the phase, and it's a lengthy process, and it's always a process. It never goes away. There's not a day that I haven't shed tears. And this has been 2 years.
Can I make an assimilation between yourself and myself? So it was funny that we kind of talked about like, oh, thank you for your service thing, and like, so my tour to Iraq or to Afghanistan was extremely traumatic.
Yeah,
wild, just good time.
understand what you're saying.
Real good time. But so like when I first got back, like I was doing the coping thing, like just blackout drunk, just trying to like get my feet on solid ground and like, remember my friends who I had lost and et cetera, and whatever. But there's this weird thing that we kind of keep circling around that I want to ask, and you had mentioned it a couple times already, but like when someone is griping and complaining about something so futile, again, with relativity, so futile to you're just like, what the fuck is this person crying about in your head? Yeah. But to them, it's like the worst thing.
They just don't have as much life experience as you guys have.
Well, here's my question, and I want to know how you treat it, because how I've learned to treat it is I just shut up.
Yeah,
because I don't have the tolerance or like the amount of Christianity I need to not just blow up on you. You know what I mean? Like your day's not that bad.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Like leave me alone.
Like seriously.
Yeah. You need oil in your car. Go do that. But like people so to me, my initial and for the last 10, 11 years now, since I've lost 2 good friends over there, for the last 11 years, it's just been like, all right, shut it down. Just ignore everything. That's how I treat it. Yeah. So I don't accost someone in public.
Right.
How do you handle that when someone is like, you just wouldn't believe how bad Simon is being. I can't believe he did this. This is the worst thing. And then heaven forbid they say something as awful as like, I wish I did, but whatever. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something that a parent going through a really hard time would say.
Right.
What happens in your brain at that point and you're hearing this dialogue? I mean, in the back of your head, you're like,
right.
You don't know how good you got it, lady.
Understandable.
You know what I mean? But like, what do you do? How do you handle that?
I think the difference between the two things, right, is for yours, it's unseen, unknown.
Yeah.
No concept at all of even the idea of what you're talking about. Like if somebody says thank you, it's what you think is thank you for the awful suffering and my thanks for my buddies dying.
Yeah,
because they don't know that at all.
Accurate, yeah.
But for me, for most of the people that I'm around, of course, know that my son passed away.
Yeah,
that he lost his life to cancer, and I even hate to say we lost him. We did lose him, and we all suffer. But he lost his life. The world suffers. Yeah. He lost his life. But in my experience, it's self-correcting. And to explain that this way.
Yeah, please.
You just sit there and quiet, and they eventually figure it out. But they're looking at you, and eventually it clicks because, oh, wait a second. I'm talking and complaining to a guy who just lost his son.
Right.
they eventually because you're just going to go off and like anything, you're not going to think about particular things when you're talking to someone. But and maybe it could be a look or whatever. I don't give them a mean look or a nasty look or anything. If you're just sitting there just kind of listening and looking at them, a lot of times you see it click. Like, whoop, hey, wait a second. What am I doing here?
I'm going to just shut the hell up.
So, it really does. And you see
That's
it.
what you mean by
and I don't have to say anything. No, I don't think I've ever said, listen, be quiet. You haven't dealt with what I've dealt with. Now, first of all, I don't know what...
Not even in the first year?
I don't no. Because what you learn, too, to give people grace in anything.
Because you don't understand what their experience.
No, I don't know what their experience is.
Yeah.
You have to understand, for example, for our history, it wasn't just, Grant passing, which is the worst thing imaginable.
Yeah.
Impossible. But it was other things that happened to us, that happened to my kids, that happened to my daughter, that some of the traumas that she had to deal with and difficulties she had to deal with throughout her life that she still suffers with and deals with. So I've been down the road of difficulty, my own personal illnesses that lost my profession. I was on disability for a bit.
Well, you're hearing and your
so
heart.
Deaf in one ear,
totally deaf in the left side. So
and heart surgery.
Yeah, I had a few stints.
Yeah.
So I don't. If I'm going to do something, I'm going all out. I'm going to be.
But that's
an
like
overachiever.
one. That's like.
One. You better throw 2 or 3 in there. I'm not even.
I'm doubling down, Doc.
Yeah.
But that's like one thing too that like I think even for people that don't know your full story, which go back and listen to the first episode that we had you on.
Mm-hmm.
What episode number was that?
I'll have to look it up. But like
number 1.
so much stuff's happened. Like you've overcome like you're like single dad with 2 special needs kids, and maybe not special, but autism.
Yeah, the spectrum. Yeah.
So like single dad raising 2 special needs kids, and then losing hearing, and then or in one ear, and then like heart issues, and then losing a son, and still having a daughter. It's like life's thrown you obstacles, and you overcome them, and you still have this great outlook and positive attitude, which is rare to find with somebody that was thrown as many obstacles as you are.
Yeah, I could easily.
You could easily just hate the world.
I could turn to that old curmudgeon, angry
Midwestern
person who just. I have nothing but negativity.
You just keep describing
It's okay.
me. Oh,
it's okay. Next, if we get jerseys next year, curmudgeon's going on the back. Yeah. So if it fits, does that fit?
Just leave me alone.
Yeah, you get little letters, but and what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
I think I've always lived my life. I keep in mind. I've made my mistakes and I've had my flaws, and I've learn from them, hopefully, the best I can. But once you experience the pinnacle of human suffering,
it's all downhill.
Well, it's not just that. It's the more people, what they say sometimes, that if the person the true people with the biggest hearts, many times with people who have suffered the most. Because they know what it's like to suffer. They know what difficulty is and hardship is. And why would they inflict that upon another human being? Intentionally. Now maybe it's slight or not much. And everybody has reason to complain about things or difficulties, of course. And I'm not going to begrudge anyone that. But how do I serve a legacy or a memory doing that? Not obviously not mine, but my sons and my daughters or whatever, they've gone through hell and they're going forward.
Well, a good point you mentioned too is like attitude, I feel like, is contagious. If you have a bad attitude, you cut somebody off in traffic, flip them off, you affected that person, you've messed up their day. Whereas like if you wave to somebody, they're like, oh, that person waved, and they feel a little glow, and maybe they wave at the next person. So I feel like that's also like
attitude is like herpes, man. It just keeps going, No, is there, okay, so what I want is there anything about Granted that we didn't cover that we need to cover?
Events.
Events.
Oh, yeah. So
what do we got coming up?
Well, first, going back a little bit, just kind of explain what
absolutely.
Over
Yeah,
the
please.
Edge was that we talked about. Over the Edge, we have a fundraiser every year where if you raise $1,000, you can rappel off the Centerpoint building in downtown Evansville.
And
Super sick, by the
I
way.
want to mention also, I saw or heard so many people talk about how you benefited them or that they wanted to get involved and you gave them tips and pointers to raise that $1,000. Do you want to give out like any sweet, special, spicy secrets to like...
I don't know if I was that helpful. I know, we tell folks, hey, you share it on social media, reach out to people directly, give them the information about the organization, because when people find out about what we do, which is one of the biggest things too that this event does, is
understand what it's for.
It puts our information out there to people, and it's not just about raising money; it's about reaching the families that need us. How many out there have no idea that they could qualify?
Right.
That they can come in and go, hey, you know what? My child has it doesn't have to be terminal; it's life threatening.
Yeah.
If it's a life-threatening illness that could take your life, it is a possibility. You can qualify for a wish.
Yeah.
And Beyond the Wish services.
No, we're not talking like Google and get the WebMD response.
Yeah,
like it's got to be a diagnosis.
It has to be physician approved.
My son's got a
course.
weird mole on the back of his ear, and he wants to go skydiving. Can we make this happen?
Right. Yeah. Everything's physician approved, of course.
Just get that mole cut off.
But we give them the best information we can to help them raise funds. But
100%.
But it is something that sells itself. If you reach out to folks and ask for help for something like this, people are very inclined to support you in this. This is our third year now. We had 151 total repellers this year. Our total, we raised
$229,550.
Yeah.
So how many cents, by the way?
I did not.
You remember
ask
better
you.
than I, and I looked at it multiple times, but I think it just changed this way. I was like, wait, which one was it?
Yeah.
But we were able to do that too while we were raising funds for House of Hope all year, which was a huge project.
Oh, yeah.
So with in-kind construction, material donations, labor, cash, we're talking a $2.3 million fundraiser.
Oh, yeah.
That the entire community, we talked about, you asked before, the Evansville surrounding areas, the tri-state area, the contractors and folks came in and go to our site. We'll have the information out there for the House of Hope site. You can go and take a look at all the information we have. But we have a wonderful community, and they come together, and they love to support us. And to be able to do something, of course, most people, wouldn't typically rappel off of a 9-story building. And most people that haven't done that thing before have some fear about it. Of course, I did. I still do, and this is my second year doing it.
Yeah.
But they overcome that. And they know that, these kids don't have a choice. If they want to try to get better, if they want to beat whatever they're fighting, they don't have a choice of what surgeries they do or don't have. And in most cases, they don't have a choice of not to deal with chemo. They don't to suffer and struggle through that. So for us to somebody go up there and go, you know what? I'm going to go with an organization Over the Edge who puts this on, whose safety record is obviously wonderful, because that's what we talked about, the safety in that. They have to, because they can't jeopardize not just their organization,
which I also want to touch on.
But they're a
Canadian-based company, and I don't know if you realized last year, but I was up there for like maybe 5-10 minutes listening to some of the people thinking, I'm like, these people are Canadian. Like just some of the small little lingo that they had.
Gross.
But they do stuff all over the...
Well, or we're still going to do it next year. I know. I know you're totally.
But no, I just.
I'm a huge patriot.
They do stuff all over the country.
Yeah, blame Canada. Yeah.
But they do stuff all over the country and very safe.
Oh, sons of guns.
But you guys do several other events throughout the year.
You made a good point, though. Like these kids, they don't have a choice to go to do the next thing, and then the next thing, and the next round, and the next thing, and it's all in hopes to like have more time or to potentially beat this thing or whatever. And then most of us, we never get like faced with that. It's so weird. But like that's kind of why I am the way that I am. That's why I go like hiking in weird places. I've gone skydiving. Like I don't care. I don't give a shit. It's like I've already gone through the worst thing, and it's like, so there are difficult things in this world that can make you better. Have you ever gone skydiving?
I've not.
You should.
I always
And
wanted to.
And I'll tell you why. It's going to scare the shit out of you. It will. You could die.
Yeah.
But
or I could get in my car going home.
But it's exactly. And what it is like this small little futile task that if you complete, you basically just had this huge fear that you like stepped over. You just like kind of belittled it and you just went past it and you were like, well, I'm in the plane now. There's no going back. You know what I mean? And it's like more humans should do that without terminal illness. We should be more like these kids that are terminally ill or potentially terminally ill. Like they don't have a choice and they're just being badass all on their own. And here we are, bunch of damn slouches with tears in our eyes, like, don't take my baby. And it's like, if you do some tough shit, like toughen up, do the shit that they're doing, like idolize them because they're a rare breed. It's weird. And Grant, especially, like you said, man, that's a tough. Yeah. It's a tough son of a bitch, dude.
And for all those listening, Dan's previous episode was 135.
135.
We'll link it in the description.
Way more information on Granted in 135. Yeah. We covered a lot today, too, though.
Yeah. And I think, one of the points I made about when you talk about doing something courageous, all the folks that helped us to raise the money we did and for every year for Over the Edge so far have been courageous, in what they've done. They say, hey, I'm willing to do this. So many of them are scared to death. They're frightened.
Oh, yeah.
But, they're willing to do it because this is what I'm supporting. But you see them at the top and you see the fear. You look at the bottom. You will never see the smiles on the looks on people's faces. It's uplifting. It's not just because, oh my God, I'm safe. It's just adrenaline. It's this joy of completing and accomplishing this, and then doing it for the reason they're doing it. It's just amazing. If you see folks posting photos, which you will here soon, if you haven't already, the joy on people's faces you can't put into words. And a lot of these people were scared to death up on the top. Trust me, it is a scary thought. Because
you got to see a bunch of them. Well, you see people that do it the last 3 years or 2 years up to this current rappel, and like they do it every year, and they're still like,
yeah.
I saw a lady shaking so bad 2023. She untied her shoe without ever touching it. Like just
and I don't want to scare people away.
No,
it's like, yes, don't do this. You're gonna be scared to death.
It's only 100 feet.
We'll blindfold you and put you in a wheelchair like the other guy. We'll just wheel you off.
We got a special wheelchair for you, fella.
But for any natural person, we know it's safe. The
like
safety they measures beyond my
just like rock climbing.
Do you think people that are afraid of heights are afraid of heights or gravity?
I think I think one begets the other. but yeah, it's something that folks are willing to do because it is something exciting. It's different. It's fun, and it's an atmosphere. It's not just go up, go down, done.
There's
we
food
have an
trucks,
event.
There's music.
It is an event. We had dancing teams. We have food trucks. We had
people out there working out.
Just all types. Yeah, we had the workout folks.
Glenn Ubalor was getting a pumping in 2023. I think I saw him in 2024. He had a weird goatee situation going on. That being said, is there anything else we need to cover about Granted? Because I have a couple really off. What else we got?
Yeah, he has a quick question about upcoming events. Of course, August 23rd, we have our Swing Into Wishes. So it's our 6th annual golf event that we'll have at Cambridge.
Okay.
So if you can go to our webpage at grantedtristate.org and go to events, and if you want to look for some more information,
and you just pay to play, and then
you pay for a team, and you come out, or you can also be a sponsor.
Is there a minimum to have a team together?
I think there's if I recall, I don't want to say it wrong, but I thought it was about $500 for a foursome.
500 would sound right,
or four.
But more,
I hate to give the wrong numbers,
and
they're on there. You can click on the sponsorship thing. If you go and you tell you what sponsorships are available. So we have this. If you keep scrolling down, you'll see a guy you may recognize. I don't know if he's on this one. He's on the flyer, so Grant's on there for the mission, but he's on the webpage. But yeah, where you can purchase tickets there. Sponsorships for $200. why don't you just be a gold dreamer, which is 3,000. I don't know, why you wouldn't.
Get in there, dude.
If you got it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna have a stint, get 3.
Yeah.
If you're gonna
go all out.
into swing,
You can also make donations to the
you can
cause.
make donations. So we do that, and then we also do
There's
our
Grant.
dishes for wishes.
There
he is. So he was again on the advertising on the Centerpoint building this year, bottom right, in the red shirt. If anybody was wondering who that was.
Dishes for wishes.
Yeah, dishes for wishes. So we have that every year. We have food and savory and sweets that folks come in and they get a ticket to the event or
and
sponsor
this is
a
at
table.
Burdett Park.
Yep.
Yeah. This year I think it is because we changed our location.
Okay,
But and you ask questions. I don't know. I remember. I remember the stuff I have to.
What
I help
day
with
and when do I got to be there and where do I got to be? No, I get.
And I'll send you an email. But I co-sponsored Over the Edge this year, and of course the folks that had done it previous years, kind of were in it running already. But there was so much involved in that event and what we do.
There's a lot of companies trying to get in on it this year.
We had some wonderful sponsorships, some new sponsorships this year.
Way more than I remember last year. After talking to folks at Over the Edge, so many more companies, bidding in to get their, to put money towards this and get their name here, and just almost like it's a way. I feel like there's more of a frenzy this year than there was last year.
Yeah, and we have a really giving community out there, and
Bunch
who
of
doesn't
great
want to be involved in this? I mean, there isn't any greater cause, in my opinion. Of course, I'm a little biased here.
Yeah,
but after getting to the point where I could join the board and try to be involved and the best I can and give back and help as much as I can.
I think the Days Grimm is starting a 5K in Fairfield, Illinois for gallbladders. So
the 5K gallbladder race?
Well, we don't know, but there's virtually no gallbladders in Fairfield, Illinois.
Oh, that's right. I remember.
Yeah. So we're trying to get a 5K going for that. So there might be a runner up to this cause. Is all I'm saying. Maybe. Mate, you said you couldn't think of a greater cause. I'm saying we might get runner up. No, this is a really great thing. I really do think that there was a lot of hype this year. When I talked to a lot of the board members that you were introducing me to, they were like, we had people coming at us from everywhere. It was like a street fight, just like people trying to get in on it. And that's great. Yeah, it's great.
Our board, the board of directors at Granted, such a wonderful group of people, huge hearts.
Yeah.
I mean, there are folks that have put years into this, and they've really put their heart and soul into this organization. And to see it go from, years ago was Wish Upon a Star, I think back in 85 when it started.
I remember I remember Wish Upon a Star.
So they were
I didn't know
barely
these were...
kind of making it. Yeah, and then they switched the names. And then they really kind of exploded and really... got to the point where we're at now. Susan Washburn, who's our executive director, does an amazing job working with all these families and planning their trips and everything else. Even when Grant passed, do you need any help with the funeral? Do you need, we didn't for Grant, as it wasn't his wish to do so.
Overabundance.
But the things that she steps up to do for families and other folks at our organization, like Corey and that are in the day-to-day trenches, all credit to them. For what they do and what joy they bring to people and assistance they bring. I do the best I can. Obviously, what I do is difficult. It is not easy to step into a wish organization.
Oh no!
With you're as a bereaved parent, you see things and hear things and know things. As kids are struggling, as if a kid is passed, it is absolutely some of the hardest things for me to do.
To hear and to think about.
I do it because, I just feel called to do so because that's my job now.
God bless you for it.
I have to do what I can do to help other folks because I've not only been there, I am there. This isn't something that suddenly
doesn't go
away and it's cured and it's all better.
You see something and it takes you back to that day.
Yeah, well, I think, and it takes me back. Seems like every minute, every day, almost to some degree. But the pain with a lot of things, it comes the duration, the intensity, it lessens a bit over time, but it's still there. So it comes in waves, but the waves maybe don't crash as hard 2 years in, but they're still there, and they're still pretty big.
I believe it.
So-
As we get towards wrapping up, what piece of advice or like what do you think you've learned in this last year?
That's a good
Like-
question. I think what last year has done for me was it helped offset or kind of wash away some of the negativity that I had kind of
Like the
taken
angst,
in.
like the
no,
angst
it's
or
like
the animosity.
after my son passes, or when he's sick, or while during time he was fighting cancer, or after he died, and what you think of whatever people in general, or how somebody did or didn't do something, or whatever, your mind races to all kind of things, right? So you can find some negativity in the world that you see through that lens. Obviously, you've seen an awful thing, and you see your child die. I can't even have any words to
There's not a
explain
word in the English
what that
language.
was.
Yeah.
That will torture me every day for as long as I live. So that obviously, we talked about finding positives and things. That will always be there. So there was a lot of negativity attached, which is going to be the case. Get involved with Granted, though, and you see so many of the positives. So you see the people that have put so much time and effort into it, that are there for these families. And not just these families, but me. For my son. They came when Susan and Jeff Purdue came to hospice to see him a couple days before he passed. Things that you don't think of that people in this organization do on a consistent basis to make other people's lives better and to bring some light into a very,
Just
very
to
dark
ease.
universe. So
An ounce of pain.
yeah, so a lot of that has really given me a lot of positives to offset, to see, there's a lot of good in this world. And there's a lot of people out there doing good that they weren't pushed like I was personally because of what I dealt with and what we continue to struggle with as a family, and my son feeling that I have a responsibility for his legacy and memory. They're doing this strictly because they are called to do it. They didn't get the enormous push that I got.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is a group of people that have enormous hearts.
It's a great group.
and it's I couldn't be more proud of the people I work with not every day, but as often as I do. Shout out to them.
Yeah, and we've worked with them for 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I just, Tom agrees. You hear some of these stories, some of these folks. It's just wild. It's really great that some of the families that were affected, and then just some of the sponsors and people that have helped, and people that have known people, and it's a good deal. I did want to ask one question. We've kind of been like probably bumming, like, being really sad and bumming
that's
some people
fine.
out, and that is fine. But I want to lighten the mood just a little.
Let's do so.
When you take a shower,
Mhm.
you're all done. What's the first article of clothing you put on when you're all dried off? Just out of curiosity. How do you get? What's the first thing you put on?
It's got to be my underwear.
Right.
It's just
You're going underwear too.
It's
right?
just a feeling of comfort. I mean, you can't. I can't. Why would I? I just see. Picture this in my mind, right? I throw on a shirt, and I just wear a shirt until I get ready. That just is not right.
In the Army, we call that shirt.
Well,
yeah, you're just out there, just shirt, no pants. That's a weird.
I
feel.
can't even sit around without a shirt off myself in my own home.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
If I could be nude, I would all the time. You get it. But no, when I get out of the shower, the very first thing I put on, and people look at me crazy
Socks.
when I say this, socks.
I can see why they
I
look
have
at
3
you
dogs.
crazy.
I hate the feeling of dog hair on my feet.
Okay.
Yeah,
socks
underwear
first.
first, then socks.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going socks first every
Yeah.
time. Dog owners, tell me you're out there and that you feel me. No, man, I think it's great, dude. I love everything about you. You're such a good dude. We talked about a lot of good stuff today. We learned today that ground is broken on House of Hope. That's phenomenal. I was not aware. I knew it was close. I wasn't aware that it had actually happened. So.
Yeah, we'll have grand opening scheduled for June of 25.
June 25?
Yeah.
Sick. So we're all looking forward to that. Pay attention to your social medias, everybody. You should be seeing your friends that took place in Over the Edge. They should have already posted some pictures. And then
if you want to get involved, the links will be in the description to Granted's website, to the events website, to the donation links.
Yeah, man. If you're a photographer or if you're a company or if you're a part of a company that wants to get involved, dude, just follow these links and they'll take you right down the rabbit hole that you need to be in. You good over there?
Yeah,
Jesus,
Salt's got me.
And don't forget, if you want to be able to dress up as your favorite superhero or whatever costume that they can get to work with the harness, you can do that as well. So
watch
when you're going over the edge,
promo video, you'll see a bunch of good outfits.
Wonderful outfits. You know, you had was an Arrow from the Thunderbolt. So we have mascots coming down.
Purdue always does. Like the Kiss.
This year he was a
unicorn.
A unicorn because. Or Wish Kid Colin wanted to be Gene Simmons, so he said,
really?
I'm being Gene this year."
Yeah,
which was funny when Colin got down. He smeared his makeup. He said, "I've been wanting to do that all day."
He couldn't touch his
probably
face.
itchy, dude.
Yeah.
No, man, but I'm just, Dan, dude, you're such a great guy. I envy to be even like an ounce like you. So it's always a good time when we hang out. We have a couple BLs. You know, we do a little BSing.
West Side.
West Side. Ski, BLs, and Grippos. It's just a good time. Tom, you know, you're all right. So thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any last minute questions or
shout out to Granted. Shout out to Team Grant.
Yeah, shout out to Team Grant. The sick jerseys. We're gonna do them again next year. Any last minute shout outs?
I just want to thank you for having me and give me this platform to talk about Granted. And what we do and just to let folks know that there are people out there that need our help. They need our support. And organizations like Granted and the Days Grimm podcast getting us here to get the word out to these folks, you know, we're grateful for that.
And then on the flip side, if you're in need of help, you may be completely oblivious to Granted.
Yes, most people are. Most people
look into it.
They're told by someone else. They don't know.
Yeah,
so hey, spread the word. You know, we're going to get a lot more partnerships going with other medical facilities and organizations and the like.
Yes.
So we just want to thank everyone for all their support and what they did for us for Over the Edge, for all our other events and supporting us over the years. And we're just going to do more. You know, more better things, like more better things. So,
seriously, God bless you, Dan Dennison. God bless Granted, dude. Y'all are some really good folks. I can't be more proud in the last 2 years of anything that I've accomplished than both Over the Edges that I've partaken in. So, and I know Tom feels the exact same way. We're very, very thankful for you taking a couple hours out of your day to stop by and revisit the 2024 Over the Edge and how it all went. And I'm sure, you know, we'll see you again next year, probably.
I hope to be here. I really enjoy it, and I really thank you.
It's always a good time here.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for having me, and wish you all the best as well.
No, thank you so much, man. And if you don't got any last minute questions, you good over there, Tom?
God bless America.
Yeah.
It needs it.
Freedom, dude.
We'll support that as well. Next time we just talk about that. You know,
baby,
freedom and Granted. That's what we're here for. Spread the love. Tell your friends. Granted is dope. But short of that, it's been another thrilling episode of the Days Grimm. My name is Brian Michael Day.
My name is Thomas Grimm.
And this has been Mr. Dan Dennison for round 2. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate
being here.